Stop, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. How are we doing? How are we feeling? I need to turn this fan on because it's hot in this thing house. It's freaking hot. What's up? How are we doing? How is everybody doing? Another day. It's Monday. I hope everybody had a good Monday. Got the Target shirt. Got the Guns N' Roses Target shirt. Day 5 of trying to get Target to sponsor me. I'm telling you, I'm going to wear a different Target shirt literally every day. I'm committed. I'm committed. We're going to do it. How's everybody doing? Let y'all join in. Drop your, drop your warm welcomes in the chat. How's it going? Hey, Nav, how are we doing? Armpatal, let's go live later on IG. I don't know if I'm going to be live on IG later. We'll see. It gets busy. I get a lot of people that request. I got to be fair. So can't always go live with everybody, but we'll try. How are you today? I'm doing good. Mark B, what's up? Killer Poison, what is up? How are you doing? Hello, Bullet Man. What's up? What's up, everybody in YouTube? Don't forget to hit that like button. Smash that like button. Raj, what's up? I like you because you have your name is Raj. What's up, hey, Peter Parker? How are you doing today, my man? You know what? We've got some roster news today. Let's get right into the roster news. And I'm not going to waste your time today. I'm going to try not to, at least. So, oh, man, we're fumbling today. It is Monday. We are fumbling the bag. Just like I fumbled the bag with Eric Davis last night. Hopefully he comes in. It's a little bad start. Okay. Anyways, let's get to it. So this morning, the 49ers signed safety Taushan Gipson. Not a bad signing, actually. He's been in the league. He's bounced around quite a bit. He's a veteran. He was an undrafted free agent a couple years ago. Cleveland Browns. He went to the Jaguars, and he also played with the Chicago Bears, who we play in week 1. And the guy's a pretty solid veteran. You know, he's got some years on him, but was he 32 years old? So he's been in the league for a minute. Pro Bowler. He's got 27 interceptions, I think, over 500 tackles in his career. Pretty solid guy. And it tells me that they need to make sure they have depth in case Jimmy Ward is unable to come back, right? You have Jimmy Ward dealing with the hamstring injury. George Odom was out there today, and he looked to be getting those first-team reps. Tarvarius Moore has, been out there, and they have Talanoa Hufanga. So those are your safeties, but they need depth. I don't know if he makes the 53-man roster. It really depends on how healthy Jimmy Ward is. I don't think he is going to be a big-time part of this roster overall, but he's a solid veteran, and he doesn't need to be, taught anything. He could come in and figure out the scheme and figure everything out. So it wasn't a bad move. Overall, again, he's not bad. So if they have to start him in a pinch, maybe he can. But I think right now, if the season started today, George Odom would probably start with Hufanga. That's just my thoughts. So I don't know how fast this Gibson guy can learn everything overnight. He can't learn everything overnight, right? But he probably won't have to be taught as much as like some young guy. Because I know we got Leon O'Neal a few weeks ago. He had the injury settlement. It's unfortunate news. But this is a veteran, and he'd probably get up to speed quicker than an undrafted guy that's still learning the ropes in the NFL. So that was not a bad move to sign Gibson today. So again, they did sign safety today to help with the injuries. It's kind of one of those things with these injuries. Taushan Gipson, they had to bring him in, and last year they did this too. There's a lot of injuries. You had Josh Norman, Drake Kirkpatrick. It was kind of last minute. They did Clinton Dix. They did sign him last year. He didn't make the final roster. Remember, everybody was so upset. They were so upset when they signed Clinton Dix, and then he didn't make the final roster. I mean, this guy could be this. It could be the same situation. A veteran, last minute addition. Maybe they just need some depth, and then maybe they'll cut him in a few weeks. We'll see. Roster cuts are coming. Tom Lewis says he's a vet. He'll pick up the playbook. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's better suited to pick up the playbook than a younger guy like Leon O'Neal. And I think that's why they were going to go with the veteran, because they worked him out the other day, and it looks like they liked what they saw. Everybody today was commenting, oh, why didn't they get Leon O'Neal? And that's why I said it that way, because everybody was commenting, oh, Leon O'Neal should be signed instead of this guy. Give him a chance. But this is a veteran. He doesn't need as much, coaching and stuff to learn and get up to speed as an undrafted guy like Leon. So they got him, and in order to sign him on the roster, you have to get rid of someone. So they waived and reached an injury designation with Austin Mack, wide receiver. I didn't think he was going to make the final roster. I said that he was probably going to be one of the guys that got cut this week, and lo and behold, he was one of the guys that basically was released, injury designation, so they can sign Taushan Gipson. So that was not a big cut right there. It's pretty much straight to the point. We expected it. You know, it's not a guy that we were like, oh my God, I can't believe they cut Austin Mack. I feel bad. Hopefully he can stick around, maybe make the practice squad, but he reached an injury designation. So the chances of that are pretty slim to none. I don't think it's going to happen. But, you know, it is what it is. They have roster cuts tomorrow. It's down to the nitty gritty. And everybody's been talking about who's going to make it, who's going to get cut. Again, I think the lock to get cut is Justin Skule. We talked about it yesterday. I think Justin Skule gets cut. I kind of was thinking that Jordan Mills might get cut now. After seeing him on the weekend, he wasn't impressive. He didn't play like I thought he was going to play. So maybe Jordan Mills and Justin Skule get cut. They like Colton Mckibbins to kind of be the backup to Mike McGlinchey, that swing tackle. He won the spot. Surprise to me. He won the spot, but hey, Shanahan saw something and he liked him. He's going to start this week against Houston. So Colton Mckibbins is making the roster as a swing tackle. He's going to start in place of Mike McGlinchey till he's healthy. You have Mike McGlinchey there, and Jalen Moore is reportedly back. So I think Jordan Mills might get cut, and I think Justin Skule gets cut. And then Keithan Sutherland, boy, oh boy, this man was so bad at center. Absolutely getting cut. Absolutely getting cut. Hopefully they don't cut Mason. Hold on, can you hear the audio? For some reason it said my AirPods went off, and I don't have my AirPods on. I want to make sure we can hear the audio. Let's see. Make sure the audio is working. I gotta, let me know. We got audio issues. Are we good? Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. Sorry. A little delay there in the chat. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, so I think those guys get cut. Sorry, there was like a little issue there. Before we get into anything else roster-wise, yesterday the NFL continued with their top 100, right? The NFL top 100. We had 3 Niners get into that top 30. So you had Nick Bosa, was ranked 25 in the NFL. You had George Kittle, he was ranked 22, and you also had Fred Warner ranked 47. I think Fred Warner was ranked too low. I think Nick Bosa was ranked too low. But you know what? The fact that they're getting some credit and they're getting notoriety is good. The fact that we're actually getting people to recognize is a good thing. So, and okay, good. We can hear. Audio works. I think, yeah, Debo and Trent Williams will be back in the top 20. They should be back in the top 20. Trent Williams probably should be the number 1. But I think Aaron Donald is going to be number 1. Debo is crazy, man. He had a hell of a season, MVP type year, and he's going to probably be top 20 in the NFL, top 100. It's crazy. Good to see these guys get respect. I do think that Nick Bosa was rated too low. And they had Diggs from the Cowboys. They had Diggs rated over Nick Bosa. This guy got cooked up. I know he had a lot of interceptions, but it's because they threw to him every time. He was either going to get picked, he was either going to get a pick or get thrown a touchdown on. And this guy was thrown on every single time they had a chance. And the fact that he was rated over Nick Bosa just made me sick. I think George Kittle's ranking was pretty good. 22 in the league. Not bad, right? Not bad. He had a injury kind of plague the last 2 years, but the fact he's 22, they recognize him for not just his receiving ability, but his blocking. And that's what they were saying in those videos, was how good of a blocker he is. And George Kittle might be the best blocking tight end we've ever seen. This guy's unbelievable. He does so much for this team. So it's good to see Kittle get that high ranking. Previously, he was number 50, so they did bump him up. Nick Bosa wasn't ranked because of the ACL the year before. And Fred Warner the year before was ranked number 21. So it was a little bit of a sharp drop for Fred Warner. But again, popularity contest, they vote, it's players vote for their favorite players, is what it is. The fact that we're getting recognition is cool, And the fact that we have, so far, we have Kyle Juszczyk, Jimmy Ward, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Nick Bosa on this list is so cool. It's pretty cool. We got a lot of Niners on this list, and we're going to have at least 2 more, Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams. I don't think anybody else makes the roster. So Bosa was way too low. Yeah, he was. George was also hurt in 2020. That's why he dropped. Yeah, again, I feel like it was a fair rating for George Kittle. But hey, we just wanted to touch upon that going forward. But let's get back to the roster news. Again, tomorrow we have cuts looming. We have roster cuts looming. And there's some players that are on the bubble. We talked about this yesterday. Running back has been the biggest position that everybody's like going crazy. They're going frantic over on 49ers Twitter. Everybody's going crazy on the running back situation. Jordan Mason has stole the show, the undrafted gem. This guy's a preseason monster right now. I don't want to cut him. You cut him, somebody's going to snag him. We've talked about this many times. TDP, 3rd-round pick. He looks good. He looks like he's just going to get better in this system. And we all know Elijah Mitchell is your number 1 running back, but he's got injury issues, right? He's got injury issues. We got to have depth. And then there's a guy named JaMycal Hasty. We know we've talked about JaMycal Hasty a lot on this show. We've talked about how he's had a great preseason every year, and then when the regular season comes, he's not the guy you want. Not the guy you want, you know. So I don't know. Will JaMycal Hasty do enough to stay on the team? I think he might, because Shanahan loves him. Shanahan loves this man. Shanahan absolutely loves JaMycal Hasty. He can't do wrong to Shanahan. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Batcher, what's good? And Marco says if they cut him being Jordan Mason, he's going to go to Seattle. That's exactly what I think. My man David Yang says Hasty makes the squad. He makes the most of every opportunity. He makes the most of his opportunities in the preseason. He always shines in the preseason. He knows what it takes. He's smart. Like at the end of the day, he knows what it takes in the preseason. He's like, all right, ball out, show what I got to do, take advantage of it, and to put me on the regular season roster, you know? So it's crazy because Shanahan thrives in the run game. So unfortunately for the Niners and the fan base, we're going to lose somebody that's good, you know, at running back. But the Niners can plug and play people at running back all the time. So it's kind of a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, you know? So I don't know. And then the guy that everybody's talking about is Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon. Niner fans are not liking Trey Sermon. Everybody wants him cut. Everybody thinks he's going to miss out on making the roster. 3rd-round pick. He's got the high draft capital, you know, compared to a lot of these guys. Most of the time, Shanahan gets these undrafted or late-round guys, and they become stars. Last year, they took Trey Sermon in the 3rd round. This year, they took TDP in the 3rd round, and he's applying pressure. He looks great. But Trey Sermon just doesn't seem like he's hitting the holes. He's got slowness, right? Doesn't have that burst. Everybody wants him cut. He played through an injury this week. He had injuries last year. Maybe he doesn't fit the scheme, and that's one thing that you have to kind of take a look at. Does he fit the scheme? I don't know. But the other thing is he's not running behind Trent Williams, and it's kind of unfair to base what's been going on right now because they don't have their full starting O-line. I think this week is a dress rehearsal. Well, it is the dress rehearsal. What I think is you let my man Trey Sermon run behind Trent Williams. You let every single running back run behind Trent Williams. You let every running back play on that first-team O-line. Give them all a few carries. You got to rotate them and see who does the best because this is nitty-gritty time. You don't just cut Trey Sermon because you think he's had a few bad preseasons. This is preseason. It's where you make mistakes. You might not look the greatest. This guy he might have a longer leash than some of these other running backs because he does have a 3rd-round draft stock on him. So it's kind of tough for me to see them cut Trey Sermon because he does have some trade value. If anything, you could trade him to another team that might say, oh, we could turn this guy around. The Niners just weren't built for him. We believe in his opportunity, and we believe in his skills. So I think he still offers trade value, but I think he might play well with Trey Lance at running back, you know, at quarterback. I think Trey Sermon and Trey Lance could be a good duo. I think they were drafted to kind of go together, but you know, we really haven't seen much of them together. We haven't seen him behind Trent Williams. So I think this week you have to give every running back a fair chance and go from there. So my man says the guys that do well in this scheme are one cut and Sermon Dancy. He does. He doesn't see the hole develop. He's a little hesitant. He doesn't just cut and go. Then that we did talk about that yesterday. He hesitates a little bit too much. He doesn't just boom go. He doesn't trust himself. Doesn't have that instinct and that vision. He kind of plays around and he's trying to look for something and he doesn't hit that hole right. Usually you got those guys, boom, they hit the hole. Raheem Mostert, he would get the ball and he'd cut it and just go and he would just hit that hole. He'd see the vision, boom, right to the outside. Elijah Mitchell last year, he'd get the ball, he cut up, he'd see the hole and then he'd burst through the hole. Like those are the type of guys that Shanahan wants. They see the hole, and they explode through it, just explode through the hole. Trey Sermon's not showing me that burst. But again, he did play with an ankle issue this week. So I give him the benefit of the doubt on that. It's tough, man. It is tough. I think we can trade Sermon, says David. I think we can too. So it's tough. I don't think he gets cut this week. I don't think any running back gets cut this week. There's no way you cut any of them. They're all pretty good. They all fit the system. Jeff Wilson Jr., he hasn't played this last 2 weeks because of personal issues. So you don't cut that guy. You really don't cut Jeff Wilson Jr. There's no way. Elijah Mitchell, he's dealing with his hamstring issue. You're not going to cut him. Jermichael, he's been a preseason warrior. Jordan Mason standing out. TDP, he's been looking good. And Trey Sermon, he looks like the odd man out, but you got to give him a fair shot this week. Let's see what he can do against with the ones on the team. So that's that. Let's get to any other questions, comments before we continue. Any guys that you guys think that are on the roster bubble that you want to discuss? We did discuss this pretty much in depth yesterday. The players that we feel that are going to make the roster. We'll bring up a couple more players, and we'll kind of go through it. Let me pull up the depth chart. Let me pull that up, and we'll kind of we'll see if you guys have any questions or comments on a player. Batcher says, should I hit up Lynch's line so he doesn't cut Mason? Please, let's call him together. Let's call John Lynch. Hey, what's up, John? Yeah, this is Raj over at RSF 49ers. I just want to let you know, please don't cut Jordan Mason. The Niner fans absolutely love this guy. He's a gem, diamond in the rough. Don't cut him, okay? You might get another call from my man Batcher. He's going to let you know. So I let John know we don't want to cut Jordan Mason. We absolutely need to keep him. Let's see if John listens to the Niner fans. We'll see what happens. I better not hear that he gets cut. The GOAT says, I don't think Tarvarius Moore makes it, huh? You don't think he makes it? Who do you think is going to be safety? Who's going to stay on this roster as safety? You think Taushan Gipson replaces him? I don't know. I think Moore makes this final roster. I don't think he's done enough to not make it. That's what I'm thinking of. I think Tarvarius Moore makes the roster. Again, okay, so safety, you have Jimmy Ward, Hufanga, you have Odom, Tarvarius Moore, and then you have Taylor Hawkins, and now you have Taushan Gipson, who was added today. Unfortunately, I think Taylor Hawkins is the guy that gets cut maybe this week, but he had an interception last week. I think he did enough to stay on the roster for one more week, and then he'll get cut. Taushan Gipson, he's the veteran that they added today. It'll be interesting to see if they keep him over Tarvarius Moore. You could be right, my man. You never know. You never know. Absolutely don't. But I think Tarvarius Moore makes it. And I don't know if Taushan Gipson, I know they signed him this week. I know it's your veteran. It's like I honestly see them making it like a Ha-Ha Clinton Dick situation where they signed him and then he doesn't end up making the final roster. People aren't going to be too happy about it. I think they just need depth going into this week. Honestly do. And I think that Taushan Gipson may be the guy that gets cut over Tarvarius Moore. But, I wouldn't be surprised if you're right, my man. Raj Sangha says, got to keep as many running backs as possible, even though we have to cut 32 guys overall in 8 days. I agree. You have to keep a lot of running backs on this roster because of the nature of the offense. They run, and run some more. They run so much. They run a lot. And they get hurt. Every year we lose players to injury, and most of those players we lose are running backs. So it is interesting. Tight end. We talked about tight end. That's a tough position to kind of predict. But I think that we're going to cut a tight end this week. I don't think we're going to have Troy Fumagalli come through the final rosters this week. Tanner Hudson might have lived to see another day. And then you have Tyler Kroft. He might have lived to see another day. Ross Dwelly, you got to step it up. But I think the 3 tight ends that make it, even though they haven't really impressed, the other 2, Charlie Warner, he's come back off an injury. And then you have Ross Dwelly. I think those 2 make it, just because I don't think Croft and anybody else has done enough to pass them on the roster. They can cut Tanner Hudson and Tyler Croft, and maybe they make the practice squad. So, let's see. Maurice says, good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. Seems like this will be the hardest 53-man cut in a while, says Shani. It really does. This 53-man roster seems like it's going to be tough because there's so much talent, so much depth. There's layers of talent, and these guys do a good job of drafting and finding players and gems. We know how good these guys are. And again, a lot of these players, they can get jobs on another team fast. We already seen it. We lost Keyshawn Johnson. He got signed right away. We lost Josh Hockey. He got signed right away. The Niners have great talent, and whoever they lose is going to sign somewhere quick, probably in the same division. I think there was a question a couple of questions back. Can't remember asked, but they said, "What do I think about Brock Purdy?" We've talked about Purdy. I like Brock Purdy. He's very smart decision maker. He can move the ball effectively. He's had 2 great 2-minute drills. I like Purdy. I think he makes the roster. I know that's kind of I guess a hot take. It's kind of a big debate right now. Do you think Shanahan's going to keep 3 quarterbacks? I think he will. Speaking of quarterbacks today, did you guys see Nick Mullins got traded to the Vikings, possibly be their backup? Kellen Mond got 8 in the live so bad by the Niners, they needed to trade for Nick Mullins. They needed to trade for Nick Mullins because Kellen Mond looked like gutter trash against the Niners. And Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the 49ers roster. Nick Mullins can get traded, but Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't get traded. Purdy is quick. He is quick. Quick decision. I said this before. Purdy looks like a young Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like the Shanahan quarterback. That's Shanahan's got. He likes those fast, quick pass throwers. That's the Shanahan type of guy. That's the Shanahan mold. Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy G, like those types of quarterbacks. Quick, boom. But Purdy has an arm. He can throw. Nice little pass. David Yang says, I heard E-Man came back and locked it up. Yeah, I was getting there to news today. He looked, from what I understand, Emmanuel Mosley looked phenomenal. Let's pull up some tweets there. Let's pull up some tweets from training camp today, shall we? Let's go look at the reporters that were fortunate to be there. Let's go look at Matt Barrows and who else? Cam Inman. 2 good guys. So D'Amico first. So first off, Emmanuel Mosley, Ark Armstead, and Charlie Warner went through team drills, the first of the season for Warner, and Armstead and Mosley look sharp according to Matt Barrows. So that's good to hear. It's very good to hear. And apparently that Emmanuel Mosley came in and he looked very impressive. He got, a good day. We need that out of Emmanuel Mosley. And this is why we've been, struggling a little bit with secondary. Sometimes people say, oh, yeah, like last week, Justin Jefferson was cooking the Niners secondary. Emmanuel Mosley and Charvarius Ward weren't there. They weren't there. Cam Inman says 49ers defensive coordinator D'Amico Ryan says it was fun to see Emmanuel Mosley back in practice after his hamstring issue. Mosley tipped a pass, and it led to a Hufanga interception. Then he intercepted Lance's next pass, and later had tight coverage on Ayuk on a sideline route on an overthrow. Jeez, Emmanuel Mosley dominated today. Can you look at that? Tipped the ball, led to an interception. Then he intercepted a pass. Then he put lockdown coverage in Ayuk. And that's exactly what we saw out of Emmanuel Mosley in training camp. This guy was a dog in training camp, and he continues to be a dog now. People said, I know that Trey Lance, he was having I guess he had a bad day in practice today. He was 8 for 15, 3 intercepted passes. 1 from Hufanga, Mosley off of deflections, and then Fred Warner. And then Dante Johnson dropped a potential 4th. They were all over him. And you see what I'm saying? This secondary is good. Trey Lance is playing against an elite secondary. Like everybody was upset today. I saw some comments. Oh my God, Trey Lance, he had interceptions. He had interceptions in practice. It was a bad practice. He's playing against possibly the best defense. He's playing against possibly the best defense in the NFL. Emmanuel Mosley came back and immediately lockdown city. Lockdown city. The D-line is insane. The front seven is insane. Those linebackers, you get pressure up there. Javon Kinlaw, Nick Bosa, Arik Armstead's back. You get pressure on Trey Lance, and guess what? Your secondary is going to be swarming. Swarming. So I'm not worried about it. It's good to hear that Trey Lance is playing against an elite defense. He's elite defense. And speaking of elite defense, that brings me to the big topic of the day, the big question. Are the 49ers going to have the best defense in the NFL? So today, NFL analyst Adam Shine, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. He put his top 9 defenses, sorry. He put the top 9 defenses in the NFL. And he has the San Francisco 49ers ranked as number 1. He has the 49ers ranked as the number 1 defense. The Niners are starting to get a lot of publicity, and I think people are going to realize this team is just so talented. I mean, look at the people. You have Fred Warner. You have Nick Bosa. Emmanuel Mosley, who, if he could stay healthy, he's an absolute dog. Absolute dog. Man. Unbelievable. And then you have the Packers. I think the Bills are number 2. Green Bay Packers are number 3. Los Angeles Chargers. You have the Rams at 5. You have the Saints at 6. The Buccaneers at 7. The Denver Broncos at 8. And then the Cleveland Browns at 9. But he has the number 1 team defense as the 49ers. What do you guys think? Obviously, we're Niner fans. We're going to agree with it. But I think that people need to realize how elite this defense is. Because this D-line, like I said, there could be 11 players that make this D-line. And you have the best linebacking unit in the NFL. And the secondary, they've improved it vastly. Emmanuel Mosley, Charvarius Ward, Jimmy Ward. It's good. Talanoa Hufanga. Like, they have some stars on this team, man. And they got young players like Sam Womack. You know, a lot of young players. Drake Jackson. Drake Jackson's turning heads. Everybody thinks he's a steal. Look, Drake Jackson was the 61st pick in the NFL draft. The fact that he was the 61st pick in the NFL draft is madness to me. Man. It's going to be 2019 level, possibly, says Hey Peter Parker. Arik Armstead today, he says that this secondary is the best he's seen. He's the best he's seen. My man Rohan says tons of shows at the same time. Shout out to Raj. What's up, Rohan? Appreciate you, my man. He's a real one. You know, I think Rohan actually tweeted that today of what Arik Armstead says. Let me pull up. Let me see. I think Rohan tweeted that today of what Arik Armstead said in the. Let me see. Let me pull up my man Rohan's tweets. I think I saw Rohan tweet that today. Yeah, Arik Armstead. Look at that. Arik Armstead on the 49ers defensive backs. He says it's definitely the best since I've been here. He said that today in his press conference. And Arik Armstead's been on this team for quite a bit years. What, 8 years? So he's seen some good secondaries, you know. He's seen a lot of players go through this team. He saw, you know, Richard Sherman playing on this team. And he says this is the best secondary that he's seen since he's been with the Niners. So you got to respect Arik Armstead. He knows what he's talking about. Tom Lewis says, what's up with Charvarius Ward and Jason Verrett? Jason Verrett still rehabbing in ACL. He should be back, you know, soon enough. They're going through the process of rehab. He tore his ACL week 1 last year against the Detroit Lions. Takes a little while, but, you know, he is making good progress. From what I saw and what Shanahan said, you know, they're happy with this progress, but they don't want to rush him. Charvarius Ward, he's got a muscle strain, and he should be back to practice next week is what Kyle Shanahan was saying. So Charvarius Ward is on the way back. He should be okay, and we need him. We absolutely need Charvarius Ward. Rhea says Lance looked terrible. Were you there? Were you there? I don't know. You weren't there. We could just go off of the notes, and obviously he threw picks, but Emmanuel Mosley was back. I think that has a big reason why Emmanuel Mosley or Trey Lance threw some interceptions. He played against a defense that's elite. Again, he's going up against possibly the best defense in the NFL, man. My man says, Rohan says, what up? You always in them live chats. Respect to you always. I always got to say what's up to everybody in the community and help everybody out. And, you know, I like to watch other people's shows too. So there we go. Tom Lewis says, that doesn't account for a lot. Though as a unit, we haven't had the best. We've had 1 to 2 good DBs since Armstead be there. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, CB, the secondary group hasn't always been elite, but there's been good players, good talent. But from what he says, this is the best group he's seen of all, all the years he's been there. And yeah, you could probably make the argument they've had some really bad cornerback play through the years, but there's been some good years. There's been some players that, like I said, Richard Sherman, Emmanuel Mosley's been on this team for several years. Him and Sherman were there. But you're right. This year you have Charvarius Ward and E-Man, 2 guys that are elite cornerbacks that could be both Pro Bowlers. Emmanuel Mosley's playing on a contract season. Charvarius Ward got big money, but he wants to prove he's worth all that money. He has a lot of pressure on him because people said, oh, he got overpaid. Emmanuel Mosley is now in the prime of his career, big money contract. He wants to go out there and prove he's a Pro Bowler. So I think this is going to be a very, very fun, stingy secondary. I'm telling you, I think this secondary is going to get a lot of interceptions. I feel like this is going to be one of the years where we could be top 5 in interceptions. I know it's not always the case because the Niners haven't had the best secondary over the last couple of years, and sometimes we struggle to cover. But this is a year I feel because of that front 7 and that pressure they're going to get. I mean, God, they're going to have some big-time plays this year in the secondary. And then you have guys like Sam Womack. He has a knack for the ball. He's a turnover magnet. David Yang says, pick City according to Jimmy Ward. I think so. I think it's going to be pick City. Russell Garcia says, remember when Jimmy threw 5 picks in one practice? Good times. I mean, that's the thing in practice. Jimmy threw 5 picks. Trey Lance, let him throw 3 picks. He shouldn't be throwing 3 picks. Jimmy had 5 picks in a practice. So until Trey throws 5 picks in a practice, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. This is the thing, man. In practice, the defense, he's playing against this defense that sees him every single day. They know his plays. They know his tendencies. They know everything. The defense knows what's going on. They know what's going on. When you play another team, it's a whole different story. But he's playing against the Niner defense. They know every single play in the playbook. They know Trey Lance. They can read him like a book. So I don't think that it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. You're saying Trey is only good against a bad defense. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the defense we play knows his tendencies. They know it's the same defense every day. You go out there, you get better. Trey, if he beats this defense and dominates them, and then you can write a story about that. But he's playing against the same defense every day. He had Emmanuel Mosley come back out there wanting to prove himself. I don't think throwing picks in practice is a big thing, man. Wait till the regular season and let him go out there and do what he has to do. Because there's the thing. Trey Lance has had some nice practices where he's went out and he's done great things, and nobody talks about that. Everybody likes to talk about the negative. Everybody likes to talk about the issue, the bad stuff. Of course, that's the stuff we like to bring up in bad practice. Did you hear Trey Lance had a bad practice? Oh, my God, he threw 3 picks. And in all honesty, this is the stuff that they're working out. They're getting the kinks out. When the regular season comes, we're not going to worry about how many picks he threw in training camp. We really aren't. Or practice. We're not going to remember, oh, man, I can't believe Trey threw 3 interceptions in that practice on August 22nd. Can you believe that? When he's out there and he goes out and the team gets a W, we're not going to remember the 3 picks. Maybe some of us. Some of us will. But we're not going to remember the 3 picks he threw in a practice. It's practice. That's what you do. You go, you make mistakes, you get better from it. And if he wasn't throwing picks, if he wasn't getting lit up by our defense, then I'd be worried about the defense. Then I would be like, this defense soft, they suck, you can't intercept this guy. So you could go either way. So if Trey Lance goes out there and he goes 20 for 20, 4 touchdowns, and he just torches the defense, then people are going to say, oh, the defense must suck. Well, they got a shitty defense. So either way, there's a negative take either way. So Rhea says, well, he's going against the top defense is going to get old soon when he has to go versus good teams. Again, though, We are a good team, and he goes against this good team every single day. So this is preparation for going up against good teams. But I see where you're coming from. But preparation for this season against a great defense that the Niners have, potentially the best in the NFL, according to some, is only going to make Trey Lance better. He has to go up against dogs every day. It's going to make him better. And the game situation is so much different than practice. Again, we don't really have context. We hear the numbers, we see the stats, we see the tweets. Oh my God, he threw 3. Do you know like what kind of feel they were doing, what kind of drills they were doing? Was it a certain play? Was it just, was it on a move the ball period? There's so much that goes into it. Because when I was at training camp, there was different instances. Sometimes they're just going up and making plays. There's a certain play, certain set, defense lines up against the offense, and the defense wins the rep. The defense wins the rep. Sometimes the offense wins the rep. When you're in that move the ball period, it's a whole different story. It's more like a scrimmage. You're more like a game situation. And then Trey Lance, he really did good on those game situations, those move the ball periods. So honestly, there's a lot of context that we're missing when you see, oh, he threw 3 picks. You see it, you take it for the surface value, and you're like, oh my God, he's shitty. He threw 3 picks. There's a lot of context that we're missing. We weren't there. So yeah, he threw 3 picks, but what were the situations? Mark says a good player will learn from his mistakes. Definitely, and this is why we practice to make these mistakes, and eventually he will learn. But I'm not worried. Patrick Mahomes has struggled in practice. Right? I just can't wait for the regular season because all this is hearsay. It's all just talk. It's what people need to do to pass the time. I'm not worried about Trey Lance having a bad day in practice. Tom Lewis, iron sharpens iron. Exactly. Competition breeds success. At the end of the day, all this is going to make Trey. Russell Garcia says, y'all are wild with the Trey hate. It's insane, man. It's insane. It's insane. I mean, it is what it is. Let people have their thoughts and opinions. We all got them. I'm not going to let you not have your opinion. But I don't think it's that big deal. I'm more worried. Honestly, what I'm more worried about is the right tackle position. The right tackle position. The right tackle position. Let's talk about that. And then Slasher Gamer, he has a nice question. We'll bring that up. Mike McGlinchey is dealing with knee irritation. He tore his quad this year, or last year, sorry. And he's rehabbing from that. Not really an easy injury to come back from. It's really not. It's not an easy injury to come back from. And now he's already got knee irritation. They got Colton Mckibbins playing right tackle. I don't know. Maybe Colton Mckibbins will prove me wrong and do amazing, be a solid player. But I'm a little worried about Colton Mckibbins. Reyes says, just saying, not hating. Nah, you're not hating. You're not hating. We all got our opinions. But it is what it is. Yeah, Mike McGlinchey not being there, it's a little concerning to me. I think he's going to miss multiple games this season. I really do. I really do. It's unfortunate. We don't even know if he's, going to go through the season playing pain-free. That's the thing. He might be playing this season, but he's going to be dealing with a lot of soreness, a lot of pain, a lot of irritation. He's had knee problems before. He's had to get the PRP shots in his knee many times, tore the quad, and now he's rehabbing. This is not good for Mike McGlinchey. Colton Mckibbins is your right tackle. So, my man, Hey Peter Park says, I'm going to quit. I'm going to be quiet before Raj. No, I'm not going to kick anybody out, man. You're all good, brother. I love the comments. I love the engagement. You guys, I like the chat. You guys are doing a good job of keeping the comments going. Everybody has their say, and this is what I like. I want people to engage and have an open conversation. When we bring up topics, you guys bring up topics and talk about it. This is what I want from the chat. We're all going to not agree. So I'm not going to get mad at you. This is the thing. I like the YouTube chat. I like you guys on the YouTube because there's no trolls in here. There's no nastiness. So far, I've really been happy with how the YouTube's going and how everybody's kind of interacting with each other. We're all not going to be agreeing. It's not going to be roses and stuff. There's some people that hate certain players, and it is what it is. But I think as long as we're respectful in the chat and we're all kind of, bouncing ideas off and we're all kind of sharing our opinions, that's what it's about. Because, again, we're not all going to have the same opinions. Like, I think JaMycal Hasty is a preseason Hall of Famer. and he's not a good regular season player. But then there's some people that don't agree with me and think JaMychal Hasty is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and he's making this roster and he's going to be a Pro Bowler. But one of us is, we can all have that opinion, our opinion on the fact. So that's what we do. We open it up for conversation, and I love it. So it's good stuff. David Yank says, can we put Brunskill out there on the right side? We can, but the problem with Brunskill is he's also got a hamstring issue. This man's got a hamstring issue. So I think Dan Brunskill definitely can play right tackle, but he's got a hamstring issue. So right now it's Colton Mckibbins. I'm a little worried about that. Nicholas says, yeah, McGlinchey won't last long with that lingering injury. I don't think he will, man. I hate to say it. I mean, he's a good dude. I like the guy. I have high hopes. You know, he's in a contract season, but I'm going to keep it real with you. Marco says, we should be worried about the O-line. If we get an injury too, if we get any more injuries to this O-line, yeah, it's going to be like Trent Williams. We know how great Trent Williams, but not every player is Trent Williams on this O-line. Shout out to Spencer Burford, though. This guy's been dominating. The team loves him. They've said good things about him. I mean, we've known about Spencer because we've talked to him, you know, and we've heard so much good things about Spencer from when I talked to him and other people have. And good dude. He's progressing in training camp and through the preseason. So I think we're going to be okay with Spencer on the right guard. But there are holes on that side. He is a rookie. He's going to have his ups and downs. Center, Jake Brendel, I mean, he's never started a game of his life, and he's expected to be a starter on this line. I think he'll be okay, but we'll see. It's a, you know, a work in progress with center. But the thing is with Jake Brendel is if he gets hurt, who the hell is going to play center? I like Jason Poe, and I think he makes this final roster. Undrafted gem. He can play center. He can play guard. So that might be a guy that comes in and kind of does something later in the season. I think he's a future starter on this line. But the thing with Jason Poe is he's still learning. He's still developing. I don't know if he'll be able to play center right away. He's played guard primarily, so it's hard to switch it up on a youngster. You know what I mean? So we'll see. O-line is definitely a cause for concern. Aaron Banks is a big question. You know, he's looked okay so far in training camp and in preseason. But this is not the regular season, and this is a lot of pressure on Aaron Banks. You know, they got rid of Laken Tomlinson. They took this guy in the second round, and a lot of pressure on big Aaron Banks. So Mark says Poe is doing great. I think so. He's doing great. Sad Niner fan says the media really switched up fast on the Niners after that first preseason game. Now they love them. We've been talking about it. Narrative is switching. When they see the Niners doing great, they want to ride the train. They want to gas them up. They want to get clout off the Niners. That's what happens in NFL. It's a media frenzy, and when people are doing good, they want to ride that train. They want to ride that gravy train for all the content. So, my man Rohan, peace, my man. Appreciate you. Thanks for sticking by and checking it out. Okay. The Slasher Gamer has a few good questions. I told you I'd get back to him. So let me get to his first one. Y'all are keeping this chat active. I love it. The Slasher Gamer says, I'm starting to get a little concerned that Ward might not be ready for week 1. All caps. He's screaming at me. I mean, if Jimmy Ward is not ready for week 1, we do have depth. I think we're going to be okay for week 1. I'm not saying that just, you know, I don't want to take the Bears lightly, but I think we're going to be okay because the Bears are not world beaters. I mean, we still would be at a loss, you know, with Jimmy Ward. He's an elite player for our defense. He's the captain. We need him. We need him. You know, they got Mooney, good receiver, and we're going to need Jimmy Ward. But I think we can still win the game without Jimmy Ward. It's doable. It's a game that we can win. There is, you know, George Odom. He's looked okay. You got my man Tarvarius Moore, right? Tarvarius Moore is out there. They did sign Taushan Gipson today. If he makes the roster, I think he's serviceable enough. And he was a former Chicago Bear. So, you know, he's going to give the Niners a little intel on the Bears. So I'm not too worried week 1. Now, this is where I'm a little worried. If he starts having more weeks where if he misses week 2, week 3, and he comes back, and then he's going to be still lingering with the issue, that's where I'm concerned. Right now, I'm not too concerned. Jimmy Ward is still early. Season hasn't started yet. They nipped it in the bud. And it's one of those injuries where they said, okay, we're going to let him be We're going to be safe with Jimmy. We're going to take it safe. We don't want to rush him. And I think if they play their cards right, everything will be okay. But you're right. If it is an injury that lasts longer than the first week, then I'll be concerned. Not right now. I'm not too concerned. We do have good enough depth, I think, to beat the Chicago Bears. Let me see. There's another. Oh, this is a good one. Slasher Gamer says, please explain to me how Trayvon Diggs is ranked higher than Bosa on the top 100. That is blasphemy. I honestly can't explain it to you. Nick Bosa is underrated. You know what? I'm going to throw this out there. It's probably not a popular take because I know Bosa gets a lot of hype and credit and stuff. But for part of me feels he's kind of underrated by the media. I think the media just doesn't give Nick Bosa enough credit. He doesn't get enough credit. Nick Bosa is underrated to me. I think so. I don't know why. He didn't even get like votes for all pro. Like last year, it's just I don't know. Nick Bosa should be top 10 player in the NFL on any list. On any list. It's crazy, man. To me, it's absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's weird. I think Nick Bosa needs more hype, needs more credit. I don't know why Trayvon Diggs has a higher ranking than Nick freaking Bosa. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's no argument. There's no argument you can give me. There's literally no argument you can give me that you could tell me that Diggs is better than Bosa. And I get Nick Bosa's coming off a torn ACL, whatever, last year, and it was based on last year. I don't give a shit. Nick Bosa should not be ranked worse than Trayvon Diggs. Do you remember what Brandon Ayuk did to Trayvon Diggs in the NFC playoff game? That's it. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. But it's voted by players in the league. So he might be a popular guy in the league. I don't know. He gets no respect. Nick Bosa, he doesn't even get called for holding in the games. He doesn't even get called for fucking holding. They do this to Nick Bosa. They're doing this to him in the game, and he doesn't get called. There's no holding. They do this to Nick Bosa, choking him, and he doesn't get called. There's no flags, and he still gets through the line, and he still gets a sack with the lineman doing this to Nick Bosa. How does it? That's it. That's all I gotta say. I don't know. I don't know. You explain it to me. Unbelievable. I don't know. Debbie, what's up? How's it going? How's your day? I don't know. You tell me. Is Justin Skule ready to pack his bags? Because he's going to get cut tomorrow. He better be cut tomorrow. Let me call Justin. We called him yesterday, but I feel bad. Yo, what's up, my man? Big J Skule. What's up, man? Hey, I was a little harsh on you yesterday. You doing okay? Yeah, I know. Bags packed, ready to roll out of the roster. Yeah, maybe you can find a way maybe you can find your way back to the practice squad. But I hope you don't have to get and block someone to get there, because you won't make it. I know, I was a burn. I shouldn't have been that mean to you. I love you, Justin. I hope you have a great life, but I don't see you making this roster cut tomorrow. Have a good night. I feel bad. I just burned Justin Skule. He's not making the roster. I think tomorrow he'll be cut. RSV Josh says Debo hasn't been rated on the top 100 yet. Not yet. We got one more countdown, and he probably got Debo and Trent Williams there. So, is Trent Williams going to be on the list? Oh, absolutely. If Trent Williams is not on the top 100, we riot at dawn. We will go riot the NFL. We'll go down to the NFL headquarters and do some very bad things to them. There's no reason that Trent Williams is not on the top 100 list. He's got to be top 10, top 5. Should be the best. But I'm already going to predict they're going to have Aaron Donald as number 1. Aaron Donald is going to be number 1. Number 2 is probably going to be Patrick Mahomes. Number 3 is probably going to be Cooper Kupp. And then you probably got Trent Williams there. It's probably what it's going to be. Probably. All right. Any final questions we can get to? Let's get to some last questions here. Roster cuts tomorrow. I don't expect a surprise cut. I don't think there's going to be a surprise cut. Again, we talked about our roster predictions yesterday. I think you're going to see some linemen get cut. You're probably going to see School, see Sutherland get cut. Maybe Jordan Mills. Maybe he lives to see another day. There's somebody in the secondary probably going to get cut tomorrow. We'll see what happens. What time tomorrow? What time is roster cuts due? I think 1 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. What time am I live tomorrow? I'm not sure. Probably be live. I'll try to be live between 2:30 and 3 tomorrow. I'm try to be a little earlier tomorrow. Is Trey Lance taking us to the Super Bowl? Eventually. Do you feel when we play the Bucs, do you think it'll be a revenge game for Brady? No, I don't think it's a revenge game. Honestly, I don't. I mean, I think he's always wanted to be a Niner. I think it's going to be like a bittersweet time. Like, oh, man, he wishes he would have been on the Niner. But I don't think he has anything to get revenge on. You know, it's not like we did anything mean to him or did anything bad. I think it's just one of those games where he's like, probably, man, this is where I wish I would have been. You know, we always wanted to play with the Niners. He was a boyhood Niner fan. He's always been a Niner guy. But I don't think there's any revenge or any fuel. From what I'm hearing, all the rumors are that Brady's mad that the Raiders botched the whole thing with him. Like that. Remember when that popular HBO special where he goes, "You took that guy over me," and everybody thought it was Jimmy G. Apparently, it's Carr from the Raiders. That's what the new rumors are. So I don't think he wants any revenge on the Niners. If anything, his revenge game is for the Raiders. That's what the new rumors are. The Slasher says, "Keep up the good work. Love the grind. Best of luck. Appreciate you, man. I thank you so much. Gotta keep pushing. I appreciate you." And that's about it for today. That wraps it up. We hit about an hour today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. More to come, more content. We'll be live tomorrow. We'll talk about roster cuts and all that good stuff. We'll talk about roster cuts, whatever happens, news, and we'll start talking about the Houston game tomorrow. We'll start breaking it down a little bit. Trey Lance, last year, Trey Lance, big start against Houston Texans. This was a big game for Trey. We'll talk about that. And last year was a pivotal game for the Niners. If we don't win that game, we don't make the playoffs. And Trey Lance put the team in a position to still make the playoffs. And we'll talk all about that. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And, enjoy your night. I don't know if I'm going to be live later on Instagram, but if I am, I'll see you then. Have a good night. Bang, bang. Not a gang.